Hello everybody and welcome back to Innocent Life, a futuristic Harvest Moon. I'm going to just jump right into things today because I have a lot to talk about. Now that the game started and things are sort of picking up a little bit, we have a lot of things to go over. We're now able to go to Volcano Town and we have a lot of buildings to go through, people to meet, etc. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about things on the farm today because we're obviously not really doing much. We're just growing a couple of things. But I wanted to go over how to use the strange moss that we've picked up. We picked up a lot of these outside the ruins entrance back when we were stuck and we weren't able to go into town. And now that we have seeds to grow, we can actually start to use these. Now, as you can see here, I've tilled some soil. On the left-hand side, the piece I'm standing on here is just your regular tilled soil. No seeds, no nothing. The right-hand side, as you can see, has a bit of a raised, sort of gritty appearance, and it has seeds on top of it. So this is what soil looks like if you have strange moss on top of it. So in order to use strange moss, you have to till the soil and use the strange moss before you put seeds on top. It won't work if you've already put seeds on, so just try to remember that. It takes one piece of moss per square, and then once you've done that and you've put the moss down, we can take out our seed bag and then we can put down some seeds. And then the final step, of course, is to water. And this is going to help us cut down on our farming significantly because what strange moss does is it helps your soil better retain water. So as you can see here, now that it's got a little bit of light, the squares that I planted and fixed up yesterday are still watered from the day before. Strange moss allows you to have soil retain water for, I do believe, 3 days. Which means that I won't have to water what I'm watering now for 3 days, and I can pretty much just let that do the work for me. Everything will still grow at a constant rate. And I should be able to harvest everything on time. So it's basically just a really good way to save some time. And because this stuff grows so abundantly, you're not going to run out unless you have an absolute massive amount of space to plant things, but you know, I highly doubt it. So yeah, very useful item, especially at the beginning of the game. I would really recommend using this if you want to make the most of your time. As you get more seeds, you'll have to do more watering, and the only kind of benefit of watering in this game is to level up your watering can by using it. But honestly, I'm more happy to go with the convenient option. The only thing about strange moss that I don't quite understand, and if anyone can sort of give me a bit of help with it, then feel free, but in the description it says that each one is good for 9 squares of land. But to me, it seems like you have to use 1 piece of moss per square, and it doesn't retain water for 9 days, it retains water for 3, so I'm not sure where they got this number 9 from. My impression when I read this is that I would be able to stand in the middle of a block of 9 squares, put it down, and it would put it down for all 9, but that's not the case. So that is sort of the only thing that really baffles me and that I don't quite understand, but the item still works and does its job, so I can't complain too much. Alright, I spent quite a bit of time going on about that, so I'm gonna take Robo here and we're gonna go to Volcano Town. Probably not going to be able to see a lot of the village today just because there are a lot of people to talk to and a lot of buildings to go into. We did sort of get a rundown of the town, but there were a lot of places in Million's tour that weren't mentioned, and there were buildings that we didn't go into. For Volcano Town being such a small place, there's actually quite a bit to it, so now we are free to come and go as we please. And the only two places that we've seen so far is Gayak's place and Dr. Hope's place. We're gonna skip right past those for now. The bar is closed during the day, so let's go ahead and let's head into Million's supermarket, because this is an important place in the game, obviously. This is where we're going to be buying pretty much everything that there is to buy. The first row here has all of our seeds that we can buy, and of course these change with the seasons. We've got another row of products here, and these are usually all of the fully grown crops that you can buy and use or ship. Of course, that's not really recommended. That's the expensive option. It's always better just to buy the seeds and grow the crops like that. And then finally, at the front of the store, we have tools. So all of your farming tools, and then a couple of miscellaneous things like the boomerang, the water gun, and the scale pack. Anything that has a barcode in front of it is something that we're not able to buy yet, but we will be able to buy in the future. Now the supermarket is currently closed. Normally, when you walk into the store, you would have a little shopping cart that would follow you around, and you would put the items into the shopping cart, and then you would go up to the front of the store, Million would ring in your items, and you would pay for them. Now time stops when you're inside shops, which is really nice. We don't have to worry about spending a bunch of time when we're in here, and we can sort of just spend as much time in here as we'd like. And then there is also some products to the left and the right hand sides of the cashiers. Let's talk to Million. Well, hello, Robo. I'm afraid we're not open yet. They must open around 10 a.m. I can't imagine them opening much later than that. Here's Lenny. Oh, it's you, Robo. If you have enough time to hang around before we open, why not pitch in? Well, because I have my own work to do, that's why. When the store's not open, you're able to go behind the cashier's area, and you can actually walk right into the house that they have attached to the supermarket. And this is where Million lives with his mother and his father. I don't know that anyone is really home right now. I think that his mom is sleeping, which is kind of creepy. We can go in and peek in on her. Yeah, here she is. This is Masumi. She's the woman that runs the bar. So we can meet her at a time when she's actually awake in the evening. And his father, Galleon, I do believe, is by the mayor's house. Yeah, we just saw him. I don't know if you guys caught a peek of that, but he was dressed very similar to how Million was dressed, with the yellow and orange stripes. But because the afternoon bell rang, we've now missed him. I'm not sure where he's moved around to. He might be in the supermarket. But people do move around at different times of the day. As you can see now, the cart is going to follow us and we can shop for items. And then at the front of the store, you've got Million manning the counter. And if we try and go back here, we're not allowed to, so there's that. We'll do shopping later. I'm not going to worry too much about it right now because we have a very small amount of funds. We only have about 540 gold, I guess, money, whatever they call it in this game. Which isn't going to get us much except for more crops, and I think that we have a pretty good small collection of crops going on right now. So this area up the hill here, this is the branch farm. On the tour we came and we spoke to Becky, but we didn't actually take a look at this area. It's pretty impressive. Actually, it's a big auto farm. So, as you can see here, they've got a big crop production going on, done entirely by machines, not done by hand like what we're doing. They also have animals, I do believe. This is a really big place. A lot of the stuff that is like buildings and whatnot are really impressive. We've got some really neat looking buildings and scenery. This is the branch house. So this is where Vanessa, Jonathan, Becky, Lionel, and Simon live. Those are all the members of the branch family. I mean, you walk around these houses and they're just so impressive. I mean, for a Harvest Moon game, you don't see stuff like this. You don't see houses to this sort of magnitude, you know, houses with intense furniture, I guess. You know, like they've got rooms for everything. They've got different floors. All the houses have a color scheme. I mean, it's just really, really well put together. A lot of this stuff doesn't serve any sort of purpose. It's just eye candy. But it's still really neat that they kind of put all of this in my opinion anyways. So yeah, you can feel free to look around people's houses when they're not home. But not really anybody to talk to, so there's not much point in sticking around. And then on the other side of the house, I do believe is where they're keeping the animals. So this is kind of like their barn, and if we talk to Jonathan, he might be able to tell us more. Who are you? Oh wait, you're Robo, right? I'm Jonathan Branch. I run the farm and tend to the animals here. I've heard about you. Very impressive, growing crops in the Easter ruins all by yourself. If you ever decide you want to raise some livestock, come and see me. I can teach you a lot. So he's the guy we talk to if we want to get some animals later on, which we definitely will. This is a really kind of a neat place to stop and take a look because it gives you a really nice perspective on what this game is trying to sort of tell you about the way that the villagers live their lives. Most of them are very dependent on technology and auto farming and, you know, all that kind of stuff. Further on down the line, we've got the mayor's house here. This is also a huge, huge, huge building. A boy, eh? Oh, you're Dr. Hope's son, aren't you? Your face looks tender, but you've got wise-looking eyes. I will pass this dictionary that I, Liberta, have compiled to you. Here, take it. So that's an item that we can get, and we'll view that later. You can basically look at filling up kind of like your item book, so to speak, is sort of what the dictionary is. Kind of used if you're looking to sort of do like a completionist's run or something like that. Here's Charles. My job is listening to what the people have to say and conveying information to my father. Please talk to me at any time. So that's the mayor's son, I do believe. We can go up the very, 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 very long set of stairs, which will take us to another office, I do believe. Yeah, it brings us right up to the mayor's office. So that one went up instead of this one, eh? Ah, don't scare me like that. You can't just walk into the mayor's office like that, kid. Well, I'm sorry, but I did anyways. So again, a lot of the stuff is just eye candy, but I like the attention to detail. We can take a look around again. They've all got bedrooms and bathrooms and living rooms and kitchens and whatnot. The living quarters of everyone in the mayor's family is here, obviously. So the mayor, his wife Dorothy, who does the cooking channel, live here, and their children Charles and Jessica. We haven't met Dorothy in person yet. We've only seen her on TV. And we also haven't met their daughter Jessica. Now, I do believe in the morning she's here cooking breakfast for her family. And during the day, I think she works at the library at the school, so we may be able to run into her. I'm not quite sure about Dorothy's schedule. I do know that she's here in the morning eating breakfast, so if we can get here early enough, we can catch her. This is sort of like a conference room, I suppose, with a big stage. Lots of grand-looking tables, and then finally this door will take us right back to where we started, and the whole building sort of loops. So that building is an example of one that, on the outside, I mean, it doesn't look that big, but on the inside, it's gigantic. This is the boat that I'm assuming everybody would use to get on and off the island. And because we're sort of running low on time, one more thing I'll show off in this video is this small cave opening. And this is sort of a shrine to the fire god. It's not really much you can do. You can look at it, you can't examine it or anything like that, but this was an area of an example of something that wasn't mentioned in the tour, even though as you're driving by, you can very, very clearly see the entrance as you're driving on the road, so just thought that I would sort of come in here. We may or may not be doing something more in this area a little bit later. And that's pretty much it for this video. I don't think I have much time to really talk about anything else. Right now on the clock, it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so believe it or not, we did spend pretty much all day in Volcano Town, even though it went by rather quickly. And we actually saw half of town, so it's not like we didn't get a lot done, even though I sort of felt like I was rambling. We obviously have to go into the bar and have a look when it's open. And then there's the school, the winery, the weather station, the Banks Corporation, and then there's a couple other sort of odds and ends that we can go and have a look at. Didn't do much in terms of character interaction in this video, unfortunately. A lot of the characters we ran into were ones that we already met. The best time of day to find villagers, I think, is first thing in the morning because they haven't quite settled into their routines yet. They're all either in their houses or you can find them easily because buildings are closed and you can kind of have the time to explore a little bit more. So what I might do is I might wake up early again tomorrow morning at 4:30 in the morning instead of 6 o'clock. And I might just hightail it right into town and start things off there. Because I've put the moss on my crops, I shouldn't have to water at all tomorrow. And I should have a lot of time for socializing and walking around and exploring and whatnot, so that is probably what I'll do, but for now, I'll leave it off right here. Thank you all so very much for watching and for going on the tour of Volcano Town with me. Join me next time for part 2, and hopefully I will see you then.